Hi everyone, welcome to topic 1B part 5. In this session we're going to start looking at contingency theorists. First of all, we're going to have a look at Fiedler's contingency theory, which he started work on in 1958. Remember, we looked at those two meta-categories where there's task behaviour and relationship behaviour, and it's applicable to leadership in a variety of situations or times. And a leader should be able to adapt their style to high or low on both task or relationship. Well, Fiedler's idea was to match the leadership style with the situation most favourable for success. So his model was designed to diagnose both leadership style and organisational situation. So it diagnoses whether a leader is so his surveys diagnose whether a leader is task-oriented or relationship-oriented and matches so then the leader needs to think about their particular style to a particular situation. And it was very complex as a model and controversial when he first published in the 1960s. And it was called contingency theory because effectiveness depends on both followers and situations. So Fred Fiedler was the first contingency theorist. So what you do is you identify your style, i.e. are you a relationship-oriented person or a task-oriented person, and we'll talk about how you do that shortly. Then you plot your leadership situation on a favourability continuum, and so it looks at three things: leader-follower relations, which is the follower's leadership, trust and respect; task structure, whether you've got clear goals and a clear means of achieving them; and position power, does the leader have the ability to punish or reward staff for their behaviour. And then you select a match. So let's look at the contingency model itself before we find out how we find out whether we're task or relationship oriented. So basically, where the group atmosphere is good, you've got a high task structure and the leader's got lots of power, then the most appropriate person is a task-oriented leader. We'll skip a couple where we've got a group atmosphere being good, but you haven't got a very good task structure, and the leader power is weak. You actually need a relationship-oriented leader. And where you've got a really poor group atmosphere, low task structure, and you haven't got a lot of power, you actually need to have a task-oriented leader, and there's graduations in between that you guys can go and have a look at in DAFT. So then there's this idea of leader style fit then. So a very favourable situation suits a task-oriented leader, a very unfavourable situation suits a task-oriented leader, so that's these two ends, and the intermediate stage fits a people-oriented or relationship-oriented leader. So how we find out what kind of leader we are? Well, Fiedler came up with this idea of the least preferred co-worker, or an LPC model, where basically you use that to measure whether you're a task or person oriented leader. So that reflects your leadership style. High LPC leaders are relationship oriented, low LPC are task motivated. So how you do that is you describe a co-worker whom you've had difficulty completing a job with, not necessarily somebody you don't like very much, but actually just somebody that you found really hard to work with. And the LPC instrument asks you to describe your co-worker using 18 sets of adjectives. And these are the 18 adjectives, so you can actually go through if you want to and score yourself. You'll be roughly right on how you found that person. Were they pleasant? Were they friendly? Were they rejecting? Were they tense? Were they cold? And you put all your scores in here. Then, so you just ring on the Likert scale where they come to, and then your final score is the total of numbers that so you just add up all the numbers, 8, 7, 3, 2, whatever. If you're less than 57, you're task motivated. If you're 58 to 63, you're you're a flip-flop person. And if you're 64 or above, you're motivated by relationships. So you can go and work yourself out on the Fiedler's scale. An interesting way to look at leadership, and as I say, the first of the contingency theorists.